What is going on, Giants fans? Back at it with another video. Happy almost weekend, folks. It's going to be an interesting video tonight as I'm going to touch upon Nate Solder and his current financial situation with the New York Football Giants. This is going to be an interesting one to go over. I'm going to state my honest opinion. Nate Solder should have been released, or at least wait until after June 1st to cut him, where you could save that $10 million. But due to free agency and the limited cap structure this year with the financial climate of the entire NFL, I think it's better to cut Solder immediately because you're really only saving an additional $4 million, which, yes, that's a lot of money, but I would have preferred to see Nate Solder released and I guess a restructure of Kevin Zeitler, which I wanted, but we don't know the indoor discussions that are happening between Kevin Zeitler and the team. We don't know what was discussed before his release. If you don't know, Zeitler was released yesterday, freeing up $12 million in cap space. Zeitler was obviously our best offensive lineman over the past couple of seasons. Now, Nate Solder, this is a guy Dave Gettleman likes. He signed him in the 2018 offseason. It was a 4-year, $62 million deal, I believe. And, at that time, that was mind-boggling. But Solder is a guy who we signed him to that 4-year deal. He's only played 2 years on the deal. So he sat out 2020 due to COVID-19. Obviously, he has a son that's been dealing with cancer for multiple years now. And Solder, it was interesting. He came out and he said that he would like to play in 2021 if given that opportunity. So Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman, when they had their press conference the other day, it was interesting because Joe Judge said he had a couple of conversations with Nate, and Dave Gettleman even said that the offensive line is getting younger. Now, we don't know if the Giants are going to release Nate Solder or not, but with the way it looks like, Nate Solder, the 32-year-old veteran, will remain a New York Giant in 2021. And if you don't know, I did the math on our Twitter account, Big Blue Avenue. The average age of a Giants offensive lineman before the release of Kevin Zeitler was only 3.75 years. So that is a little younger now. So even if you keep Nate Solder, it's still a relatively young offensive line. So with that being said, Dan Dugan came out today, very reliable Giants beat reporter, with some optimism coming from the team that Nate Solder would return in 2021. So the Giants are very optimistic, folks. The expectation is that he would transition to right tackle if he stays with the team. This is a position he has not played in over a decade since his rookie year. So it's going to be interesting because I think, if anything, you'd restructure Nate Solder's contract or have him take that pay cut and have him stick around to groom both Andrew Thomas and Matt Parrott. I know he had dialogue with both rookies last year throughout the season and in the training camp session as well, even though Solder was not around the football team due to the pandemic. But Solder being there in person could actually benefit both Andrew Thomas and Matt Parrott. Looking at it from a more realistic standpoint here, Solder's probably not going anywhere unless things change over the course of the next couple of days. So I think this could be a good thing. I would have preferred to release him and restructure Kevin Zeitler, but it looks like Solder is going to stay. Gettleman values tackles a lot. It's hard to find good tackles. Guard is a position that's more replaceable, according to Gettleman and other Giants reporters that have come out and said this. So under Solder's current 2021 contract, he's going to be a $16.5 million cap hit, which is not great. He's set to earn just under $10 million and then an additional $4 million from his signing bonus. So let's just say, let's put this into perspective, right? Let's say the Giants, even though they're optimistic about keeping him right now, let's say they weren't going to keep him. We release him before June 1st, we'd save only $6 million. We release him post June 1st, we would save up to $10 million. Now, I've seen people come out and say it. Let's release Solder after June 1st and allocate that money towards draft picks. Well, that's all great. You can't worry about the draft until you get through free agency. So right now the Giants are 3.2, 3.3 under the cap limit, which is not exactly where you want to be. I mean, you're in the green, but it's not good enough if you're going to benefit the team in free agency. So it really doesn't matter that much. And Solder if you do release him, he'd accumulate $10.5 million in dead money. Solder's currently 32 years old. There's no other possible way I can see this going at this point rather than Nate Solder staying on a pay cut at this point, because I think Gettleman's not going to part ways with him. You still have Spencer Pulley on the roster, who's taking up about $2.57 million in cap. So if you release him, you essentially free up close to $3 million. That'll help you out a little bit. Give Solder that pay cut and then try to extend Leonard Williams right then and there. You could be talking about a lot more money that's freed up. But the bottom line is here, folks, as of right now, the Giants are optimistic that Nate Solder will return to the team in 2021. If you like what you see, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, give us a little thumbs up. Thanks, guys.